Hello, everybody. I apologise. Kept you all waiting for what minute? We're on 35 minutes, but it was my fault. Sometimes life does get in the way. Hope you're enjoying the content on One Leeds. We're back with the debrief. Oscar has been substituted in with a man with a simply splendid ginger beard. It is Joe Wainman who is joining us tonight. We're buzzing to have Joe on the channel. We're going to have him on a lot more as well. And yeah, obviously we have the fantastic Gabe with us this evening as well. We're going to be chatting Rotherham. We're going to be chatting Everton, of which I think I went viral on Everton Twitter the other day for a certain video. There are a lot of angry Scousers quote tweeting me and DMing me, I'll say that. And we're going to be speaking January transfer windows. What do Leeds United need? What don't we need? And let's get into it right this moment in time. So we've got Gabe on the stage. We've got just Joe. Joe, how you doing, mate? We'll come to you first. What's going on, buddy?
Good, man. I didn't know you'd gone viral. I'm like, get me on Twitter now, see what's being said. Well, I missed it. What?
It says viral, Joe. It's viral in terms of me going viral, which is about 2 quote tweets. But I had a couple of Everton fan channels calling me out, and they got quite a bit of traction. Really? So it's all love and war.
Did Mike have you back? Did Mike have you back from the?
No, I had to do, mate. I had to send him a message. I sent him a message the other morning.
Sorry.
I thought I might have irked him a little bit, and I sent him a message. I went, mate, I don't know if I've irked you. And he went, mate, I just saw the video, and the worst part of it was the thumbnail. I don't know if you saw it, but it just said retribution, and it was a picture of Dyche and Angus Kinnear. It irked them a lot. So. Yeah, mate. How are you doing anyway? All good?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, really good actually. Thanks for having me on, and yeah, I'm glad football's back in about 48 hours, so it's all good, man.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's all good in the hood when football's back. It's a bit of a bleak period, isn't it, Gabe? In this period of the international break. I mean, I know you're a big US men's national team fan, but I think me and Joe are a very meek and mild England fans, so it's a bit of a dull period for us.
Do you know what's most bothersome? I'm not a conspiracy theories guy, but I'm beginning to think that USA's manager just puts on a wig and a goatee and goes and coaches the England team, because Berhalter and Southgate are the two most unbearably average, sub-average managers in international football that I've ever seen. It's painful to watch. It's painful to watch this golden generation of England. Even the second team should be blowing out North Macedonia 3-0. And to just have to watch that drivel every time I turn on the England match, it's a travesty. It's a travesty.
I like Southgate.
Oh, for God's sake.
You're the one. You turn me on.
Get your waistcoats out. No, listen. It's not that deep. It's Macedonia. Who cares? Like, we'll go to the tournament. We'll do well in it. I think we'll win the Euros this time around. So,
you think they'll win the Euros?
Yeah, 100%. We're the favourite for a reason. I think there's only France aside that can come close to us. Okay, it might be in spite of him, but ultimately, you've got Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane, who, Harry Kane's the best number 9 in world football right now, even more so over Haaland. I believe that. Really? Yeah, definitely. He's all-round game. Okay, he's not... I mean, Haaland can score goals. And Jude Bellingham, for me, is the best player in the world. Okay, Mbappe, you can have the conversation, but in form. So, yeah, listen, I think we will win the Euros. Definitely, 100%. I'm saying it with chest.
England has never had an issue with talent, in my opinion. And this crop of players is the best in a long, long time. So, by all rights, on paper, I think you should win the Euros. I don't think that your defense is world class, but I think in the other positions you really do make it up. What I'm concerned about is I've yet to watch a single match, even with the full strength England team, where in which they truly dominate even a decent opponent and make it very clear. Like, when I watch this French team, I mean, they'll do backflips on their 14th goal.
Please. Remind me again who they played.
Well, but England have just played North Macedonia and drawn 1-1.
A team that stopped Italy getting to the World Cup, I believe.
Italy's been atrocious for 10 years.
Italy,
you know it, I know it.
Well, they won the Euros last time.
They haven't qualified for the last 2 World Cups.
They beat England in the Euros.
Here's the question. The answer to this, in my opinion, is if the Euros was won on paper,
wait. Who? Sorry, Connor. Who did France beat 14-0?
a terrible team.
Yeah, Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Right.
What did England do against Gibraltar?
I don't think we played them, but believe me, if we did,
you played them in the last 4 or 5 years, and I guarantee you haven't beaten them 13-14-0 because England never looked like convincing, no matter who the opponents are. And here's the issue for me: it's not talent.
Do you know why though? Do you know why?
Because the manager is an elite.
Because we have Southgate, and he'd say,
"Right,
calm down, lads." You know, a bit like Farke does. So relax.
Calm down. But we don't like that out of Farke. Did you like that when Farke said don't celebrate? I thought you were on your channel saying you wanted to see a little bit more.
Got respect for the opposition. It doesn't fit my narrative right now, does it?
So, Joe, you're right. On paper, I think the only team that comes close to you all is France. Spain isn't. This isn't the Spain team of 10, 15 years ago. No. It's not the Netherlands team or the Belgian team of even 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, Gareth Southgate has not proven to me that he can get the best out of these players at all. So if success for this generation is going to be a semifinal or even a finals appearance, great. Then I guess he wins. But I happen to think that this is a world-class team, and if you had a world-class manager, people would be afraid of them. Nobody's afraid of this England team. I, as an American, my team is very, very average. I wasn't afraid of them in the World Cup.
Gabe,
why is that?
Gabe, let's move on, mate.
Sorry, guys.
It's my fault. It's my fault. I'm just ready to fight Gabe, so whatever he says, I'm going.
That's right. That's right. Wait a minute. I heard just up for it.
Sounds like the perfect concoction for this show, having someone to fight Gabe.
So make the comments happy for sure.
So let's get on to it then. Leeds United, the comment section, we're getting very annoyed there with all this England chat. So obviously the international break has been a bit of a tepid period, to be honest. We don't need to go over, the Leeds United appearances for said country and all this sort of stuff. Who, by the way, I had no idea Matteo Joseph, just out of just making a comment here, represented England. Had no idea. Yeah. But there you go. So with the position that we're in at this moment in time, Joe, how are you feeling, mate? Obviously going into the Rotherham game. We've not heard anything yet on Jed Spence potentially being back. Obviously, Byram's going to be out for this one. The Rotherham game we're talking about Friday night, 8:00. How are you feeling going into the game, mate? You feeling confident? Are you feeling a little bit like we didn't need the break? Obviously, they've had a manager sacked, haven't they? And it's going to be. We know it's going to be their cup final. They've had sort of a week and a bit to gear up for this one. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think.
No, mate, I'm worried. I genuinely am worried about this game. It's a game, and normally I'm uber confident, and I do think we should win. Of course we should, right? I go into every game thinking we should win. However, I am really, really nervous about this game, and I'm going to be saying that fact on here and on my channel. It's like Rotherham are very good at home. Okay, their league standing might not show that fact, but if you look at their decent results, they've all come against top 6 sides or teams that are up there. They got a point against Ipswich, which ain't easy. I just think at home, if they were coming to our place, Connor, I won't be worried. Genuinely, I'd say, yeah, we'll smoke them 3-0, whatever. But going there on a Friday night, knowing that we've had a lot of the players on international duty, we don't know what state they're coming back in. And I do agree with the comments. Look, Rotherham aren't great, but at home, they're the type of side that will cause us problems. The good thing is, and I've just had a quick look, they still haven't got a new manager. I just double checked. They still haven't got, which is a good thing for us. Because
I was terrified, mate, during the break that it was going to be a Neil Warnock appointment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just looking here and Neil Warnock, Phil Brown has been. I don't know if he's been. I don't know, but they've got an interim
management. My God,
I think he's just speaking about it. I don't know. I'm just looking at the Rotherham advertiser now, but they've got an interim in charge. Assistant boss Wayne Carlisle and coaches Scott Brown, Dan Green. So I don't. We've probably got them at the right time in that respect, because the worst thing would have been had they have got a manager during the international break. I'm assuming they'd have wanted that. That's probably why they pushed the button. But yeah, I'm actually quite nervous about the game because I think it's going to be cagey, tight, and I think it might be one we might struggle with, even from a mentality perspective, going into the game thinking we're going to roll these over. So I'm actually quite nervous about this one, because we need to win as well, bro, because Ipswich play West Brom away on Saturday. That's a tough game. West Brom are flying. If we can, again, win, that's massive pressure on them. And then we can cut the gap to 5. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, come on, let's win this game. I'm just nervous about it.
I think the big thing that what we don't want with Ipswich, and I know we can't really control it, but we don't want them getting into this stride again, this momentum, which it was kind of blocked for a little bit, wasn't it? They lost to Fulham in the cup, and then they had 2 draws, coincidentally once again against Rotherham. We kind of want to keep them in that sort of like mixed period of results, not just winning. It was another unconvincing win for them against Swansea. Obviously, they do what Ipswich do, which is concede goals, but they seem to always get the job done. They are proving a bit of a problem at the minute, but you know, as we say, if we can get that down to 5, and then with them having Leicester and us in the space of a week, that is massive for Leeds United. And yeah, it's a big period, isn't it, Gabe? This for Leeds. I mean, if we get a win, we get a resounding win, it puts all the pressure on Ipswich for Saturday. And like Joe's quite rightly said, away at West Brom, it's going to be no easy task.
Yeah, I think this is a match that you have to not only win, but win convincingly. I understand what Joe's saying in the sense that there is sort of a perfect storm around it because it's a match you should win. And we as Leeds United fans are sort of traumatized to the point where sometimes we drop results like this. That being said, there's nothing about this Rotherham team that scares me particularly. Looking at the Ipswich match they had, Ipswich leaks early goals like no one's business. They're very easy to score against. They're just all up for it and have a never say die attitude. We'll see how long that lasts. What they call the Tractor Boys, right?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of your English knowledge getting better. Well,
a lot of graft in the Tractor Boys. But what I will say is that for this Rotherham team, I mean, they've been woeful. I know we talk a lot, or we don't necessarily talk a lot, but people talk a lot about a new manager bounce. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Really, I don't see any issue. And if we're going to contend for an automatic promotion position, which everybody would agree that we have the manager to get us there and the players to easily get us there, these are the matches we have to win and win convincingly. We can't be dropping points to a team like Rotherham. It just can't happen, especially with the stretch we have coming up if we want to cut that gap. And I think Joe's right. And so are you, Connor. The difference of going into our next match with a 5-point gap. I mean, that's nothing in this division. So, right. And we do see trends that Ipswich is starting to slow down a little bit. Again, no discrediting what they've done. And I'm not necessarily saying they will fall off, but the signs are there. There's some underlying data and trends to show that maybe they're starting to slow down a little bit. And maybe you can't come back and win every single match, even against inferior opposition, by giving up so many goals early. If I wouldn't want to be, I'd rather be in the Leeds position right now than Ipswich. Funny enough.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a weird one at the minute because you're thinking to yourself, who are Leeds? Who's the target, Joe? Is it Ipswich or is it Leicester? Obviously, Leicester have fumbled the last couple of games, but I don't know if you agree, mate, but I'm very much on Leicester will get back. There's just too much quality there, and I think they'll still surge towards the championship title. I think they'll have a little bit. They've had 2 tricky games, us and Middlesbrough. I think, you know, Middlesbrough's going to be a tough game for anyone this season, but it does still feel like Leeds are hunting Ipswich, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say for Leicester, I changed my opinion, like, you know, I changed my pants, mate, if I'm honest. You know, they were out of target.
Once a week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So not that often, actually.
Once a season.
You're superstitious. They're lucky pants.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I did think this, but then, you know, this style that Leicester are playing, is it sustainable? You know, if you listen to a lot of their fan channels after the game, they're all like, where's the plan B? Where's the this? Where's the that? And I do agree with you, Connor, that, I mean, quality-wise, they're right up there. Goes without saying. Similar squad to us. You know, same with the likes of Southampton. I think the quality's there. I think we're sleeping on them a little bit as well, because if we drop a ball, they'll be on us, you know, straight away. They're only a point behind us. So the thing is with Leicester, it's just going to be able to see if they do have another way to play. We haven't seen Maresca go through this patch. I think the last time he went through this patch, he would have been sacked by Parma, right? So we'll have to wait and see if he can go through, because he says some odd things in press conferences. I'd love nothing more for us to get promoted with Ipswich or Southampton and see Leicester absolutely drop the ball. But I do agree with you.
You've seen them as a little bit of a problem as well. Southampton, Ross Stewart coming back. Yeah, massive, isn't it?
Yeah. I think, like I say, I've said for a while that I do think we won't move from third, like that spot. I think this is us now. I think we will just win enough games, and it's about getting into that top 2. But Southampton are coming, Southampton are coming. So it's not just us chasing Ipswich and Leicester. They're in it as well. So we've got to keep our, foot to the floor at all times. We can't afford any drop-offs. But that's where, for me, bro, is where Daniel Farke comes in and has experience of all the other 3 managers, Russell Martin, McKenna, and maybe not McKenna, because McKenna's been here with Ipswich last season. They finished second to Plymouth. So he's been here. So maybe it's Maresca and Martin we need to be looking at. But Daniel Farke's the right man to deal with this, because he's dealt with it. Look how Norwich started the first season. They won the league when we were in there, bro. We went out their place. We spanked them 3-0. They didn't get off to the best start. And by the end of the season, they came to Welham Road, didn't they? And beat us 3-0, I think, or 3-1. So he's the perfect manager for it. So I hope Leicester aren't going to run away with it. But the quality says they probably should with the gap they've got. But we'll wait and see.
I think just on that, Connor, is that we're saying that Leicester have fumbled a little bit. But, I mean, they had as perfect of a start as you could probably imagine.
By their, that's why everyone's saying it, though. It's by their standards.
Exactly. But it's historically, it's not an attainable standard. So,
Well, historically, Leicester and Ipswich right now, according to every other season that's gone, are the sides that will get promoted.
Right. But what I'm saying is that, to expect them to win every match, every week, they are going to drop points here and there. I think that what stands out most to me about Leicester is on paper, just in terms of the players they've got. I think it's us and Leicester in terms of the division, attacking wise. What stands out to me most about them, though, is the age of some of the players. They're not old. Jamie Vardy, notwithstanding. I mean, they're 25, 26, 27. I mean, these are players in their prime. So I think, whereas we're still going to have some growing pains with youth, it just happens when you have young players. Jorginho's not the finished article yet. Somerville's not the finished article yet. We can go up and down the line. So these players are going to have up and down matches versus you expect a little bit more consistency out of the Leicester boys just because of their age and their experience. So I do think that, to cap off the point, we are primarily chasing Ipswich. I'm not of the camp that the title race is over, though. I mean, it is only 8 points, isn't it? So I think sometimes we're actively 8 is 100 in this division, and you can see what happens any week.
Is that what we're both thinking then? It's still game on for the title?
Yeah, I think so.
Why not? Why not?
Would it still be game on for Southampton, do you think, as well?
I think so. They're only a point behind us. It'd be interesting to see what their fans are saying, bro, but I've not watched any of them regularly.
I've just had a quick look at their fixtures, Joe. Huddersfield, Bristol City, and I believe it's Watford. They've got some very good fixtures. Southampton.
Well, that's 9 points, really. If we're being on it, if you look at it, that's 9 points. So yeah.
Get into a few comments. Damar says, I said at the start of the season, Southampton will win the league, and we'll come second. Been saying it. Yeah, I thought Southampton would win the league. I said we'd come 6th, but that was our team then.
Six.
6th, yeah. Yeah,
we need to get Connor a nose ring.
Be a little bit more optimistic. I had us winning it.
In all fairness, mate, when I said 6th, we had Jamie Shackett and right wing and Joe Gelhardt up top.
Yeah, that was after Birmingham. It was bleak, wasn't it?
It was bleak, mate.
I was 49ers out at that stage.
That's when I said Aloni would be better off going to Cardiff because there's less risk for him ruining his career.
He said that. He said Cardiff was a better prospect than coming to Leeds.
No. I said it's better for a lone player to go to Cardiff because there's less pressure on him, and if he has an off season, won't be ruining his career.
You said Cardiff are a bigger club.
It's a more attractive destination at that point because you're like, all right, if I go to Leeds and screw up, people are going to bury me for the rest of my career. Cardiff, there's more sun in Cardiff.
Steve Brown says Ipswich players and Leicester back-to-back either side of Christmas. Zovic says have him, Joe. There we go. Saying 21st after Birmingham looked bleak. It did. Yeah. It was. I mean, we're looking at that point as Ian Pervada been the Pablo Hernandez of the season. That's what we're looking at back then. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And I think there's opportunity for any team in that top 4. Have you got sort of because I think there's and everyone in the chat as well, let us know. But I think there's an opportunity as well for a bit of an outsider to join that pack, you know, in terms of the obvious four. I sort of pinned my thoughts on Sunderland at the start of the season. I've seen some of their games this year and they've looked really impressive. They've looked poor at home. But do you think there's an outside team at the minute that's sort of going to join that four in terms of maybe join that two in terms of hunting down that top two?
I think Sunderland's a good shout. I do think they'll be a way off that four, though. That's my prediction. But I wouldn't sleep on Middlesbrough as well. Danny's just mentioned it in the chat as well. I think, Michael Carrick hasn't become a bad coach manager overnight. They had a lot of overhaul, lost some top players. They're now getting results. What's more of a travesty is the fact that we've allowed Greenwood to go there with a 1.5 million release clause. That is insane. Did you know that? Like, they can make that permanent for 1.5 million.
Connor doesn't care. Look at it in his eyes.
No, but still, he's not. No, I get it. I hear it. I don't think he's up to much. But 1.5 million? Like, I've seen today Lewis Bate going, and I just hope Leeds don't make that same mistake. Let's not put a daft release clause on next. They can light it up, can't they? So, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if we've got any clauses in there from a Leeds standpoint. It'd be interesting to see if we had any clause, where the first one's to buy him back if we go in for him or whatever. Not saying that we do that, but Connor, can you ask Joe what he thinks about Scott Chegg at Bolton? I didn't know, Wayman, if you'd go for that one.
No, definitely not. No.
Bonnie Barker says, would you sell Gnonto and wrap up Rodon and go get Clark? I mean, Bonnie, you've hit the nail on the head there. If we could do that in January,
Brentford want him though, don't they?
Yeah, he's flying at the minute. I think he's scored the most for a winger, hasn't he? I think he's got 10 goals so far. He's absolutely flying. Gnonto. Well, what are your thoughts on Gnonto? I mean, let's get into Willy. Pause. So, where do you stand on it, Joe? Are you almost January and get rid and sell, or are you a little bit more empathetic and thinking to yourself, we saw this kid at Portman Road earlier on in the season be absolutely unbelievable, and really the quality that he possesses, I think maybe a few people are forgetting about, and if we see a little bit of a downturn in form from one of our wingers, I mean, he's going to be chomping at the bit to come in. Do you think it would be Leeds weakening their side considerably, letting a Willy Gnonto go in January?
It depends on Willy Gnonto's attitude for me. If he starts with what he did in the summer, then we can say, do you know what? We'll get by. We'll bring someone else in. If he has a different attitude and he's willing to keep his head down, then you've got to keep him. Because, like you say, no one will be able to bring in is going to be of a similar quality or have the same skill sets that Gnonto does. It's quite interesting. During the international break, I did like top 5 goals, my top 5 goals, and in the first 3 or 4 games, Gnonto was unplayable. Like, he was involved in the goals. The Millwall goal, he's the one that passed it into Pirro. He's involved at Ipswich, as you mentioned. So it made me remember, oh, wow, like, he was good this season, Joe. We can have short-term memories. He was good this season. The mad thing is, and I said this on another show, had Gnonto not done what he'd done, then we won't be seeing the Dan James that we're seeing now, because he don't get his run out in the team. He doesn't get the assists. He doesn't get the goals. He gets little, charity minutes, which is what Gnonto's getting at the minute, really. So, no, I'd keep him around the place for sure. I think if we were to sell him now, we're going to be losing out in terms of what we could have got for him in the summer. So it doesn't make business sense. We're not in a position where we need to sell. The 49ers have shown that in the summer by saying, no, you're not having X, Y, Z. It sounds like loads could have been sold. And if Rads was here, they would have been. So I think we don't need money. Therefore, we keep him. And he has to show his qualities and displace Dan James. I mean, he scored tonight on international duty, I believe. So that's a positive.
He has,
yeah.
Scored two the other night as well, didn't he?
There you go. I know it's the only under 21s, but that should be
I can see it. Yeah.
That should be a real eye opener for him. Is like, I've made this decision, and now I'm playing in the under 21s. If I'd have just kept my head down, I'd have probably kept my place in the full national side. Do you see what I'm saying? So his decisions have meant that this has happened to him. No one else, him and his agent, of course. But yeah, keep your head down, Willy, and get back in the side, hopefully. Oh, he scored 2 tonight, apparently. There you go then.
Well, I'm a Joe on this one. I think that, when you're not playing in a championship side and you've been displaced by Dan James, we're not going to get anywhere near the valuation for him that we had in the offseason. So he's under contract till 2027. We're paying him roughly £1 million a year. That's not very much money, even at this level. So we're not going to, we could talk about what we paid for, but like what we paid and then the value he had when he was performing in the Premier League, those weren't the same numbers. So the question is, do we think that Dan James is going to continue to perform like this long term? I don't think so. I think that Dan James is a good option at this level, but I think that there's a little bit more to Gnonto's game. There's a lot more to Gnonto's game. And I think that given the opportunities in the side, there are going to be players go through ups and downs. And what he has to do is he has to bide his time and wait for a dip in form and then step in and take the spot back. For me, it's just, I can't see, and I may well be wrong, but I can't see a side, whether it be in Syria, they don't have the money to throw around, or the Premier League that's going to come and say, hey, we'll meet a 30-40 million quid valuation for Willy Gnonto right now, given he's not getting in the team over Dan James. I can't see that. What I see most likely, and I'm not saying I hope this happens, but that Dan James maybe has a little bit of a dip in form. Gnonto comes in and stakes his claim in the lineup. Because, I think a lot of us would like to see Gnonto on that other side. So, yeah, I think we hold on to him because, again, under contract till 2027, provided he's not a corrosive influence. It doesn't seem like he's going to be going forward. I think that, long-term, right now he's a depreciated asset. I want to see that asset recoup some of its value and continue to, potentially do well for us on the pitch.
I think.
Yeah,
Go on, Joe.
Sorry. I just wanted to add that I don't agree that I want Gnonto to start over him, and I'm not his biggest fan at all, Gabe. I think James now has shown me his game's coming on, and yeah, I wouldn't sit here now and say, yeah, earlier on I did, 100%, but now I'm seeing enough from James in terms of even his ball carrying abilities seem to be improving. We're not seeing the kick and run anymore. His footballing brain seems to be improving in terms of when to pass, when to shoot, and he's finishing with a plum. Like that first goal against Plymouth, I was like, that's not Dan James. I know the defender passed it him, but I'm expecting him to balloon it over. So I think he's looking more calm, composed. That's what we've always said, right? His legs are faster than his brain. However, that's improving. And for me, he has to displace James. I'm not in a kid.
I agree, Joe.
I know you said that, but it's like,
I agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't automatically. It would have to be like that's what I mean. It would have to be Dan James's form dipping, and I don't entirely. I think some of it is just the opposition isn't quite as good. You get more time and space in this division. Some of the defenders aren't as savvy. But you're right. He's done nothing but overperform expectations, and so he deserves his place in the team. If I'm a betting man, and I know we say this all the time on this channel, and you were to ask me, do you think Dan James will sustain this level over an entire season and keep Willy Gnonto out of the team? I'd say probably no. Not overwhelmingly no, but probably no. And I think it's going to be on Willy. Look, he's a young player. You don't get that much cash in the bank over a couple good Premier League performances. And that's really what we're talking about here. And then flashes of good moments. And he's a very skilled player, and he's obviously got it in the locker, but you have to show it. Most of the players at this level and above have great moments. He just has to show that he's more than an occasional impact player. And right now, just purely on the basis of statistics, Dan James, and the eye test, to be honest, just in terms of the impact he's had on the pitch, Dan James deserves a spot.
Can I just let people know in the chat as well? So when you finish something with a plum, it's maybe it's an English colloquialism.
No. It's a good term, Joe. Don't let him make you feel bad. It's good.
Apparently, in construction or carpentry, the term plum refers to a line or feature that is perfectly vertical. So it's very true and just exactly how it should be. So that's what it means, folks.
Use the Jack the Lad term. Just say class over and over.
Yeah. Okay.
It's class.
I'm trying to take my content up a notch, and they're just not ready for it, are they?
I think it's interesting if you're looking at Dan James as, in my opinion, found his level. I think Swansea, you saw him performing at a near similar level. I think when he was transferred to Man United, it was unfair in a sense, and it's a massive step up. But he obviously couldn't make the grade really. Fulham, he struggled as well. Leeds, obviously, he struggled. Yeah, he's an interesting one, Dan James. I do think, if you were to keep hold of Willy Gnonto and somehow keep him happy, he would still be an excellent Premier League option if we were in the Premier League. We got back to the Premier League, whereas I think Dan James is purely a Championship option. So if we're looking long term, I'm taking Gnonto all day, and I think there's going to be a point where he will displace Dan James. But for right now and form right now, yeah, you got to keep Dan James in there. But for me, if we're looking Premier League, it's Gnonto all day.
You just have to wonder how long how long it'll last this way. Because if he's not getting in the team, he's a young player. He's an Italian international. Again, he had some offers in for him. Something's got to give it. I'm not saying he deserves the spot on that. I'm just saying it might be a little bit difficult to keep him for the entirety of his contract if he's not able to break through in the team. So we'll see.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at, Joe?
Joe's getting grilled in it. He's getting grilled in the chat again.
It is what it is. Thank you. See, even when I'm trying to be sophisticated and get it wrong, it's a plum, not a plum. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. To me, it is what it is.
A plum. Oh, dear me. Gabe, do you want to rattle on about Everton fans bitching and moaning?
Oh, it's hilarious to me. My favorite thing right now that's happening in English football, and it's primarily English football, right? Because in the Premier League, the money is so ridiculous. It's a casino environment. That's what I'm calling it. That's what I truly believe it is. And everybody, I mean, what was it? The owners just voted essentially to allow the thing that they were all up in arms about Newcastle doing to go ahead and happen. All these teams are quite happy to bend and break the rules until they get called out for it. And my favorite thing, the narrative that's running with Everton, and if Newcastle are penalized for anything they do, or City are penalized for anything they do, if now Spurs are penalized for some of the stuff they're being accused of doing, they're going to say, well, this is punishing the fans. Well, yeah, no kidding. It's owners that do things. And maybe the narrative amongst Everton fans for how poor the owners were. Now, all of a sudden, they're on the owner's side for breaching financial fair play rules. It's ridiculous. So I don't want to hear whataboutism. Well, what about this club? What about that club? Yeah, there's a massive investigation going on into Manchester City. The fact is they broke the rules. And it's not just about spending on the stadium. They gained a competitive advantage that, hey, it may not have resulted in a different teams getting relegated, but relegation is big, big business. Hundreds of millions of pounds. So this is a great point, Damar. How could they afford Jack Harrison when they're warned by the Premier League over and over and over that you're over financial fair play guidelines, and they continued to spend money on players? It's absolutely ridiculous. Everton fans, and it's not just Everton fans, but cry me a river. Hold your owners accountable. Blame them. The signs that Premier League were coming for you. It's like a manager for an Asda reports somebody for stealing. And then we're going to go after the Asda because you got my dad arrested for stealing. It's unbelievable. Just give me a break. At some point, everybody wants accountability until it's their own club, right? Everybody wants accountability. Did anybody feel bad for Leeds? When we went through our trials and tribulations? No, they did not. So, I don't want to hear it. Nobody, I think the only thing I will say about the Everton situation, and I'm not the one who pointed this out, the guys on TalkSport did. When the penalty for breaching 20 million quid in financial fair play is over the penalty for going into administration, which Portsmouth did, that's a problem. And I think they have a legitimate grievance there, because now you're setting a precedent of a 10-point deduction for breaching financial fair play. So I think that could be something that they're going to have to consistently apply. I doubt they will. This is the Premier League. This is world football. But I think this is kind of what we get. And if they don't enforce it against Everton, how are you going to... They're talking about, it should be a fine. So if Man City are found to be in breach of financial fair play rules, do you think a fine is going to make a difference to them, or to Chelsea, or to Newcastle? No, they have more money than any other football consortiums in the world. So yeah, cry me a river. I know it sucks for them. I feel bad in a sense for the fans, but you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at your ownership. Don't be mad at the Premier League or the independent commission that actually made this decision.
Yeah, it does feel very much that it is an Everton problem, and it seems to be a lot of issues there. Joe, have you got any additional thoughts on Everton?
I mean, they won't go down. They're not going to go down still. The mad thing is, if this happens last season, they go down. Not this season, because the 3 promoted teams are terrible. Yeah. If anything, I think it'll have the opposite effect. I think they'll go on a bit of a march. It did with Leeds United. You know, when we were given 15 points way back when.
Not only that, Joe, but when everything happened with Man City, if you remember, Man City then went on an absolute mowing down of the Premier League.
Yeah. No, exactly, and it'll galvanise the fan base as well. So it'll galvanise the fans. Yep. Sean Dyche can create it's us against them mentality, and I think Everton will be totally fine. So like, really, it's sort of insignificant. I'm not sure I agree, and maybe you will disagree with me with this whole, but we'll listen, we weren't good enough. We got relegated because we were terrible. So, you know, take your medicine, Leeds. You know, there was I think Radrazani tried to do it against Burnley or something as well. And then when we stayed up, he just said, nah, it's all good. And then now we're trying to do it with Everton. I just don't think that's gonna wash. I don't think we'll get any money from that. But yeah, listen, at the end of the day, football is run by money. I don't ever see, like we're seeing tonight, I don't know, obviously there was apparently something, it pisses me off, Gabe, honestly, I'm annoyed. There goes
the monetization. Sorry,
yeah. There was.
I'm gonna have to stand on street corners for rent again.
There was obviously this ruling was going to get brought in that you cannot loan from a club that you own, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the Saudi stuff. You know, you've got Ruben Neves, etc. So this was going to get vetoed. Then we find out tonight that not enough clubs have voted against it.
Correct.
Now, one of the clubs that have joined is fucking Sheffield United. Mm-hmm. Now, why have Sheffield United voted? Because they're Saudi owned. Mm-hmm. So you've got Chelsea, you've got Newcastle, you've got all these clubs that have a vested interest. And now Sheffield United, who aren't even going to be here, are now saying, no, we're cool with it. Why? Because they're Saudi owned. Why? Well, what will have happened? Maybe money's exchanged hands, or they've agreed to loan them some players. You just don't know. But that's the way, unfortunately, football is. And when I start to think about it, like, it annoys me. It annoys me because
it does. I agree.
I would argue. I mean, a lot of this stuff stems from the Everton owner being Russian and all that sort of stuff as well, because they pulled him like they did Abramovich, Osmanov, and yeah. Also, it's all money based because the government and that weren't bothered about Roman when they were bringing money in. They weren't bothered, and then when the war with Ukraine, it's like, oh, get out, and it's the same with Osmanov. And now all of a sudden, like, same will happen with Saudi in that, because they'll have too much power and the Premier League won't like it. So it's deeper rooted.
I think as well, Joe. The big thing right now is they've set a precedent now. I think.
Yeah.
I think now there's going to be a lot of finger pointing. Well, what about Villa in that season? Well, what about Wolves here? What about Man City there? What about Newcastle there? This is going to be a big issue. This is going to be a big issue going forward now, because the blame game is going to be absolutely huge.
Yeah, but Connor, so this is one of the things that drives me absolutely crazy with ownership groups. So a great example of this is Arteta's rant on VAR and officiating, right? So you've got Arsenal, who in the beginning of the season agreed to the parameters in which VAR is going to be applied. And then, because it doesn't work in Arsenal's favor, but which, by the way, they've asked Arteta a couple times about the application to other teams. He says, well, we have to accept the official's decision. When it goes against him, goes on a rant and rave, which, fair enough, that's fine. And then the club backs him in opposition to the rules that they approve. They voted to approve. So what's going to happen here in terms of the ability to loan players, essentially loan sharking in a very literal sense, in terms of players in the Premier League to other clubs, when it doesn't work in the favor of some of these mid to lower table clubs, they're going to be pissed off, and their managers are going to rant, well, we don't have the resources to do this. We don't have this. We don't have that. And they voted to approve it. So it's one of these things where there are people in football that love to get on their moral high horse when they're not under the microscope. Manchester United fans love to do this about their current ownership. And then they want state money to come in and save them, as if that's not any less corrupt. So I love the people going out to St. James's Park in Newcastle and asking them questions about the ownership group. Suddenly, all these moralistic Newcastle fans have no issues with any of the ethics of their ownership group. So it's Joe's right. It's 100% about money, and it's a bit of a farce. So I don't want to see any of these teams complaining when it comes back around and they say, "Well, that's not fair." Yeah, you're right. It's not, and you voted for it, Muppets.
Well then,
did someone just say they want to? You just need to get on a street corner. Is that what I saw in the comment section?
Yeah, I feel like that's been definitely hammered into. I need to stop using these sexual phrases. But guys, please make sure you're liking the video. Really appreciate you doing so. Head on over to Joe's channel. Gabe's got a channel as well. Believe it or not, bloody hell. Gabe, got any uploads recently?
No, I just cannot. I cannot conjure up content ex nihilo. Something has to really piss me off. Or else I'm not.
You've just done it, man. You've just done it. Like, do that.
I may make an FFP video. I may do that. But
just tag Everton in it, and then you get all the hits, mate.
Oh, and the Chelsea fans. I love hearing Chelsea fans talk about how things aren't fair. 9-year contracts.
Joe, can you give us a little? Can you give us a talk through this Spielberg-esque zoom in and out on your camera, mate? What's going on?
I do love this.
It depends. It's like when I go like,
Joe's channel is a bit of a Stanley Kubrick film, I think, sometimes.
Do you know, is it giving people like dodginess? I could turn it off if you like.
That's quite nice. It's making me feel I'm like I'm on a...
Oh, God, that's too close, isn't it?
Put it away, Joe. Put it away.
I know. Fucking hell, imagine I got...
Jamie says Gabe's channel is very good and professional. Obviously, trying to give Gabe a little bit.
I appreciate it, Jamie.
It's clearly not properly watched a video. But let's get on to the next segment of the show, gentlemen. January transfers, which seems to be the talk of the town at the minute. Mr. Joe Wayman, I'm going to come to you first. Are Super Leeds going up without any transfers, or do you think we need a few bodies in? Are you thinking a left back? Are you thinking there's been striker chat today, central attacking midfielders? Would you go back in for Amiri, Elias Chair? What are you thinking?
If I could get any midfielder from the Championship, mate, it'd be Sarah from Norwich. That'd be my pick-up, to be honest.
Mine too, by the way, just for addition.
He can really do it all. I think, he would be the one. And he'd be certainly someone, if we did go up, that I'd be trying to take from Norwich. Because I think he can do bits. We do need a left back. I'm getting so annoyed, mate, and I don't know if you're the same, but I'm sick of seeing. And he's one of them, actually. Who have you just had up there? What's his face? Lord Asher's pseudonym. What's he called? Yeah, him. Ash,
the guy you thought was a genuine journalist on your channel.
No, I knew. I knew who it was. We spoke before.
You tell us if he's talking, you know what.
Juan has been...
Juan, don't you dare, Ash, by the way.
A week.
Don't you dare, Ash.
Juan, did he
I've
think
got
you were
the
genuine?
WhatsApps. Yeah, I've got the WhatsApps. Don't you dare. No, but Ash is one of them that, and I love the guy, but he's pushing this narrative that Junior Firpo's the next best thing and all this, and my go and all this. And I get it's all, Twitter speak and stuff, but Junior
Is this an official call out to Ash?
Oh, I do it all the time, and he's full of it. He has a go at me, right, for liking the old guard and all that. And I always just have to remind him that he backed Jesse Marsh until the 11th hour. We've
done it for weeks without having that name on this show.
Oh, sorry.
And Joe's broken our streak.
To be honest, I don't name him on my channel. I call him the American car salesman. But yeah, basically... What was we talking about? Yeah, Ash. I don't know what I was talking about. He's thrown me off. No,
so you were talking about left backs and
yes. Junior Firpo's not it. So let's get rid of him, and let's go and get a new left back. Who will have him? Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, but who'd have had Brendan Aronson? Who'd have had?
True.
Well, Union Berlin is regretting that decision.
No, but what I mean is that's a top move for him. It's a top move. Who'd have had who'd have had, according to a lot of people, Mark Rocker. These people can get good moves. The agents will get them decent moves. So I think
Maybe.
Anyway, Joe, I'll let you go on, mate. But I think Junior Firpo would get a good move.
Yeah. I think because I'm getting, I get called out for bashing him or whatever, but he's shy. The reason I bash him is because he's terrible. No, it's true though. We all have our favourites, right? I think he's terrible. Yeah. I've not seen anything from his game that gives me any confidence. Yeah. Apart from a goal against Blackpool in pre-season. That's it. He scored against Southampton. He's not good enough. Even for this level. So we need a new left back. We could do with a specialist 10, but obviously there's been an interview, I think, where Pirro and Rutter and Farker have been talking in rooms and trying to improve it. And I have seen a distinct improvement in Pirro's involvement in games. Yeah. Huddersfield, he was involved a little bit more, and that seems to be coming on. So whether or not they'll go there, do we need another centre back? Because I think Creswell might want a loan, and I think that could be something we need to look at. Also for Cooper as well. Right back was stacked. Wingers was stacked. Maybe a striker, bro. Bamford's not the one anymore, is he? And if he could get... Listen, I look at clubs, right? I speak to Yorkshire rivals regularly. I look at clubs like Sheff Wednesday and that, and they need a goal scorer. Bamford's not that. But what I'm saying is, he could do a job lower down the division. I see Rotherham bringing on Hugel. He could do a job at Rotherham. He probably won't go for these moves.
Mate, I'm so agreeing with you, but I love that shout. But you just know the comments.
No,
but he runs a lot. He runs a lot. Okay.
But I think he could do a job down there and be the main man, mate.
That's his standard, though, isn't it? It's Rotherham.
I think so, yeah. I think so now, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I think you bang on, mate. I think centre back, you probably saw me and Gabe nodding there. It feels a little bit to me like, when you look at Southampton's defence and you look at Leicester's defence in particular, it looks like they've got options a little bit. I still think with ours, and I know you have a main man at the back, I get that. I think Southampton, Leicester, you look at Faze, Taylor Howard-Bellis is playing really well for Southampton. But I think you look at ours and it really is held together by Joe Rodon, as the defence was held together by Ben White. And that may be doing a bit of a disservice to Strauch, but I still think if Rodon's out for a period of time, Strauch gets a lot worse. We've seen that before when, Strauch's partnered with
He's class with him, though, and I know that's
what but he was class when he was next to Ben White. I just think maybe a young... I mean, someone who I shoved out there, I really like the lad Ben Cabango as well, the lad at Swansea. He's destined for a move higher. He's only young. A little bit of a rotation option there, but I just think the quality drop off is massive. Is massive from Joe Rodon, and I just think someone there. Listen, Cresswell, I wouldn't mind, but he doesn't like him. He doesn't rate him, and we know that. I think we need and Damar's coming with a massive one there. Nathan Wood that'd be a top signing, but just the problem is Nathan Wood's not going to come to Leeds. He's not going to sit on the bench. That's the thing, and it's it's fascinating to see. But I think we need a centre back.
That's why Gruev is such a savvy signing, because he's an excellent depth piece for this level. But to your point, a guy like Nathan Wood isn't going to come to be a depth piece at Leeds. Personally, I'm with you. Center half, left back. I think we need a goalkeeper. I do.
Oh, don't do this.
I do. Listen,
this is crazy, man. This is
hang on.
Man.
Let me build my argument, and then you can jump in. 20th in save percentage in the championship. 20th. That's not even average. That's below average. 14th in post shot XG.
Oh, here we go. What 17th. Is this you're talking?
17th in post shot XG plus minus. So a post shot XG, different than normal XG, is it factors in various things like, was the shot scuffed? Was it deflected? So if it was deflected, the chance of it being a higher XG goes down. So it's a more nuanced way of looking at XG. You cannot tell me that you feel confident about a guy that in his moments can make really, really good saves. But most of the time, performing against XG does not make great saves. Let's look at the top of the table. There are, 20th in save percentage. The elite in this division are doing 81.5.
Who's the elite?
75.
Tell me the elite names. Give me the elite names that are doing the top bits.
Hermanson at 81.5% save percentage. Max O'Leary
Where's he?
75.
Where's Hermanson?
Joe, there are 19
Leicester.
people over. Do you want me to go through all
Right.
19?
Right. So you're trying to tell me based on these that them 19 goalkeepers are better than Meslier?
Have a
Is that
better
what you're
save
telling me?
percentage than
Are
Meslier?
you telling me
If that was the only
Meslier?
statistical category, I would stop there. But
Okay.
then when we're looking at post-shot expected goals, factors in whether all that's a 14th, 13th are better than him. So 17th in post-shot XG plus minus. The best in the division is 6.5 plus. He's giving up more than half a goal worse than the XG. It's terrible, Joe. Name me one statistical category where Illan Meslier is elite in this division.
The one thing I will say on the back of Gabe's rant is don't do drugs, kids. That's all I can say.
Or wait till you're 85, then you're crazy not to.
No, listen. You watch the game with your eyes as well, right? You can have stats to back up everything. I hear it.
Joe, stats are just a step back after what you've watched, because what we watched is recency bias. I know he had a great match the other day and he made an excellent save, but how many times has he come off his line and flapped that stuff? How many shots have we seen go through him like he's a hologram? That's Brownie's take, by the way. I'm stealing Brownie's line. But more often than not, he has one really good save that he shouldn't make, and we're ready to say he's elite in the championship. No way. He's not in any statistical category for goalkeeping elite.
Yeah, I disagree with you. I think he's one-on-one goalkeeping is right up there. I even remember in the Premier League, not many getting past him. I think he saved one from Saka, actually, if I remember rightly. So one-on-one, I think Meslier is right up there. I think his distribution is good. I think we're seeing an improvement in it this season. Of course, we all remember last season where all we did was put it out and he would put it out of touch. That was an instruction from the manager. You're seeing you've seen a more improved Meslier in that respect. What you're also seeing is him better from crosses. He's made one error. Yes, you are. He has made one error this season.
I suppose if you're not absolutely dire, that's technically an improvement.
Let me finish. You said your bit, I'm going to say my bit. He has made one error. I think he punched it and it went to another player. Outside of that, okay, might not be collecting them, but he's been asked not to collect them. Clearly, it's an instruction. Because in terms of his punching, it's improved astronomically. I don't know if you might be able to bring up the stats that say, how many of his errors have led to goal. You've probably got that as well, but I don't think many have. I think his shot stopping is great. And I would ask, if you're right,
can you go back and break down what you mean by shot stopping is great? Because the data shows that he's not an elite shot stopper. I actually hear what you're saying in one-on-one.
I didn't say he was elite.
It was great, but what do you mean
by?
I mean,
he's not as good as Hermanson or whatever that guy was.
He's not as good as 13th when it comes to post shot.
So name some of them goalkeepers,
16.
please.
Do you want me to name 20 goalkeepers?
Yeah, do it, bro. Let's do it. All right,
hang on. Let me pull up the data. I'll name 20 goalkeepers.
The reason I'm asking you to name them, right, is because none of these goalkeepers are better than him. It's silly. I'd love to know what Alisson's post-shot XG is and how many goalkeepers are better than him. Go find me that, because you'll find.
What do you think?
Wait. But what I'll say is, you will find goalkeepers in the Premier League that'll have better ones than him. Are we going to stand here now and say, okay, they're better than him?
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to say. Leeds United in this division, yes or no, has a top 5 defense.
I would say it's up there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we know that through not just the eye test, but the data. Okay. So with a top 5 defense, the shots that Meslier is facing,
right,
when you are 20th in the division, I'm not talking about 5th or 6th or 7th, but 20th in division with save percentage. Joe, that's woeful. It's woeful. 65% shot stop percentage is not a good statistic. That's the primary. Now, does Meslier do some things better than some keepers? Sure. I can give you that. But the primary
give me
goal
a
of
keeper. Right, okay. So Darlow's come in.
Darlow's our second option. I'm not sure he's any better than Meslier.
I think you'd have had a different opinion. It's easy now with hindsight to say that. I think we all thought he was coming in as number one. He's played in the Premier League for Newcastle. He's won the division with Newcastle. Guess what?
I can name you 19 keepers in the Championship that have a better shot stop percentage than Meslier.
Go on then. Who are they facing more shots than Meslier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so they have the opportunity.
Matt Hermanson is saving 81% of his shots.
So do they have the opportunities to save more shots? So therefore, their percentage will be higher because they're saving more shots. Is that true? Is that how it works?
No. That's why you have to look at things like post-shot XG, right? Because it's about there's a plus minus there as well, because it gauges the type of opportunity they're getting and hitting on goal versus how you actually perform against it. So like the same guys who are making the most saves aren't the number ones in the post-shot XG plus minus, because it factors things in like that. It's not just about volume. That's why it's percentage. It's a weighted percentage. Right,
you're in my brain with that now. That's gone right over my head.
But Joe, I know you, and I know that you don't think that 65% save percentage is an elite category as a shot stopper. I just don't think. If I were to say, "Hey, I never this American guy, he'll come in," and
I never said it. I never said he's elite at that. But what I would say is, for me, you know, I heard everyone gushing over Leicester's goalkeeper, for example. When we played Leicester, he was absolutely calamitous. He couldn't pass a ball. I seen Leicester fans talking about he's like Neuer. I mean, I don't know what they were smoking.
Neuer after a skiing accident, maybe.
Yeah. Johansson, good goalkeeper at Rotherham. For me, he's still top three. I would say that. And anyone who thinks otherwise, you're entitled
just based on what though? Build the argument.
Right. Okay. So my argument is, I have seen Meslier come into this Leeds United side, right? So you take out last season, right, which is what I believe you've allowed to shroud your judgment. If you take out
stats from this season,
let me build the argument, and then you can tell me I'm wrong. So I believe last season has shrouded your judgment, because the season before he broke the record for the most clean sheets by a goalkeeper he's agreeing with me, under the age of 21, right? The only other person that broke that record before him was Joe Hart, who was playing at Man City, who were winning league titles. Sure. So Meslier, at the age of 21, broke the record for the most clean sheets by a keeper of his age in the Premier League. That is a stat that will go down in history until someone who's younger than him breaks it, right? Also, before that, when Kiko did what he did, he came in and was key in getting us promoted. Just last season doesn't make him a bad goalkeeper. He's improved astronomically this season. Again, someone's just said he's 23-year-old. I believe, and I say with chest, and I said it on another channel the other day, Meslier will win major honours. Now, it might not be with Leeds United, but he will make a step up to a club that is challenging for trophies. He will be France's number one. You don't get picked out by Petr Cech at Chelsea as someone you want to sign. He's not only that, his mentality is insane, because he turned around to Chelsea at that time and says, I'm not going to be your number one. I'm going to stay at Lorient. He then came to Leeds. Trust me when I say this kid is mustard. And for you to want to replace him, I think he's wild. He's wild, honestly, Gabe. And I'd love to know Connor's thoughts on this. Maybe he agrees with you. But, I mean, I don't know who you're going to get. You know, we paid $5 million for this guy. We're going to get, when he sell, 35, 40 million. Trust me, he's a top keeper. It's mad.
This is why I'll always have time for Joe. And truly, I mean this with my chest.
No, yeah, it's all love.
I'll always have time for Joe, because Joe truly is a Leeds United fan. And the fact of the matter is, I'm just engaging what he's done this season and what all the data tells me this season. And the question is, would you bring someone? I'm not saying I would transfer Meslier out. I'm saying we need to bring the bench. I think we need to bring in reasonable competition, because if we're looking to get promoted and we're having a keeper that in every statistical category they have data for is not even in the top 5, is in the top 15, It's just not good enough. It's not going to. Last thing I'll say. To your point about don't just judge him from last season. You made a point about how many shots are those other guys facing, and is that padding their stats? Illan Meslier faced more shots last season than he would have ever wanted to because our defense was so woeful. And he, again, to quote Brownie, was like having a hologram. This season, I don't doubt that he's improved those areas and crosses. He's still not great at them. And the question is not, is Illan Meslier a middling goalkeeper in the championship? Do we think we need an elite goalkeeper? We, in every other position, want to find people that are the best in the division to take us up, right? That's the general mentality. He's the best in the division. He's not. There's no proof or evidence of it besides five.
Right. So the game is played by stats now. Then, yeah. Is that what we're saying?
I watched the Leeds United matches too, but I also watch other teams.
So what have you seen from Meslier?
These other 19 keepers.
What have you seen from Meslier? What have you seen from Meslier this season that has cost us 3 points?
Well, I will tell you that he has not had a single standout save with the exception of the last match we played that everybody was raving about, and that I agreed was a good save. But if you're going to be a good keeper, you have to make good saves, like especially if they're hit at your near post. Unbelievable. There's nothing you're underlying.
See now I have to see that you're coming with an agenda when you're saying it's a good save near your near post.
Yeah. Well, was it not at his near post? Was that at his far post, Joe? Did I miss that?
No, but you're trying to discredit the save.
No, I'm not. I'm saying it's a good save, and a good keeper should make good saves at his near post.
It's better than good. It was an unbelievable save.
There are keepers that are making saves like that, and the data, that's part of the XG plus minus, right? The top of the division is holding 6.5 over. Look, it's not just math. It's a representation of what happens on the pitch because we can't watch all the games at once, right? I mean, we can try, but we can't, right? Yeah. And I think that if we look at what other keepers are doing in the division, in every statistical category, if it was like Meslier is elite in this, but not so great in that, fine. We would do the same thing for central midfield, Joe. If somebody's pass completion percentage was like 50%, we would say, hey, that's not very good, right? They're not particularly great. So goalkeeping is the same as any other position. I'm not saying he's a terrible keeper. I'm not saying that I want him out of our club. I'm just saying that if we want to go up and have high standards in every position, we need to look for better than 20th in save percentage and middling in every other statistical category.
Can I just on that though, when you mention about we need more competition, I'm sure, I mean, maybe you don't agree, but I'm sure Connor would agree, and the majority of the chat, there is no better competition really that we could acquire than Carl Darlow. Carl Darlow was at Hull City, was unreal last season, wanted by Bournemouth to be their, to be their second, if you like. And he came to Leeds United because he thought he was getting number one support. Right. So you're saying, I don't want to sell Meslier, but I want better competition. There ain't better competition that you can get in the Championship than Carl Darlow. I don't know what else we won. I can't. The 4-1 Rotherham. When was that? This season?
I think he's saying I'm with Gabe, unfortunately, but 4-1 Leeds against Rotherham on Friday.
Oh right, okay. Sorry, Colin. I love you, man. You know,
Colin's a lovely guy who just stays placid.
Oh, he's always on my channel as well. Big up to Colin.
He's a good lad.
Come on, let's hear you, Connor. Now, are you gonna just also start giving me XGs and stuff?
Nah, I don't work that way, mate. I don't work that way. But Gabe is great with that sort of stuff. I mean, he nerds me out quite a bit, to be fair. I've got to be transparent, mate. I think I work on generals, and I think maybe I'm looking at his time at Leeds, which might be a bad way of looking at it. Gabe probably thinks it's a good way. I'm not 100% sure I agree he's drastically improved. I think this division is so bad that he's not tested enough. And I think the Leeds United's defence has been that good, and we've controlled possession that much that Meslier at points, I think, and it's not his fault, but I think has almost got a free hall pass, really, because in the Premier League, I thought that there was a big litmus test last season, but then you can throw in the argument of, but Connor, look at the defense, look at the nightmarish season we had with what 3 separate managers and the defense been everywhere, and now we have a structure, now we have a framework. Would Meslier be much better in the Premier League because he's not exposed to so much clown behavior at the back, and he's not under pressure consistently? Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. I've never really rated his handling at corners. He worries me a lot. That could have improved. You know, I think Leeds have improved, to be honest, Joe. I think, you know, we're a lot better from corners, whether or not that's the standard of opposition again, or whether or not that's the likes of Joe Rodon and Pascal Strauch-Header and everything else but the grandma. So overall, there's a lot of different circumstances here. I'm probably more on the slant of he's okay for now. Premier League, probably similar to Dan James and a few other of our players, I would definitely be looking at upgrading. But I think you are right in terms of there being a steady improvement. I just look on generals when I look at Meslier and think, I don't know if I'd want him again in the Premier League. Sorry, Joe Wainman.
No, right. That's fair. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But do you believe, both of you, that the club will get someone to replace him if we got promoted?
No. Well,
so why? Really, if you're being realistic, do you think they will?
Maybe.
Genuinely,
if they got promoted, they won't in January.
I am 99% sure they won't. 99%. So why is that?
Would you, Joe? Would you have been happy if we'd have gone down? And because there was a lot of chat about Meslier apparently wanting to leave. A few quotes there that was a bit that they're a bit interesting about him wanting to play in the Premier League. I think he mentioned something about Chelsea as well, which, you know, could have been taken out of context, to be fair. Mm-hmm. If we'd have gone down hypothetically and Meslier have left and we'd have got Sam Johnston as an example, would you have seen that as a downgrade?
Not from shot stopping. Definitely.
But would you have been happy with us getting Johnston for as an example?
Yeah, he's a good goalkeeper.
But but Johnston's probably not going to make it at the elite level, is he? You know, he's not going to challenge for trophies at any point, is he? Do you know what I mean?
That's fair. That is fair. However, go on.
But I do you know what I think it's really hard to judge Meslier this season because it's a completely different league, completely different standard, and we have we've got a completely different back line and defensive midfield pivot, which is essentially another two defenders. It's really, really difficult to judge him. I primarily judge Meslier on when he's had a lot to do, which might be the wrong way of judging him because it's not this season. So, yeah, as Baz has just said, fourth in clean sheets, but I think we are dominating games so much and we are finding this division so easy in so many other parts, and teams rarely get the ball off us, especially when we're looking at 70% possession and above. Like, how can you judge Meslier, really? Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's difficult.
100%, and I love it, bro, because Tom Napton's just said Connor got Joe there, and he smiled because he knew when he said, "Do you want Johnson?" I was like, "He's got me."
I know he's your vice, Johnston.
No, but can I just say as well, because I do think that there is this narrative that he hasn't improved, and I've had a look at the stats. And I don't know whether you can consider this a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, but some might say you want him to collect. In terms of punches, Meslier's number one. Meslier's number one in the division for punches from corners. And that shows me a distinct improvement. I can only remember one of them actually causing a goal. And people say, he keeps punching, but if you actually watched him, they're going far and wide. So I think that's something that's been coached into him, because we definitely didn't see that last season. And that's why I say he's improved. Okay, he doesn't come and collect, and some keepers would, but I've just had a look. He's on 15. The next one down is Hladaki at Ipswich with only 10. So that's where I've seen the improvement from corners. Is what I'm saying. But yeah, I also hear your argument that I think Meslier is going to go to the top, and then if someone like Sam Johnston, I rate him, is he? No, but he has got an England call up. But yeah, he's not at the top. Is he? So, yeah. Listen, I just think it's wild right now.
Yeah.
And people that are mentioning this Huddersfield goal, right? The goalkeeper is the last line of defense. Too many times, players in front of him get get a free pass, right? They get a free pass. A lot of the goals come from errors prior to that. What do you want him to do? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's so hard to judge, isn't it? It's so hard to judge.
Man.
I think
here's what I'll add, though, for both to and against Joe's point. So to talk about Meslier earlier in his career, right? So the first season he played for Leeds United, I mean, we're only talking about 10 matches, so we'll keep that out. But his save percentage was elite in those 10 matches. We're talking about 83%. The next season, the season that Joe...
Go. Come on with your stats.
Well, the season that Joe referenced of him being excellent, Joe is absolutely right. Meslier in that season made, this is the 2020-2021 season, 137 saves at a clip of 76% save percentage. That would put him second in the division this season, right? Which is an elite statistical category. 21-22, dipped by 10 points. So 66%, not good. But last season, woeful at 59.5%. This season, it's improved 65%, but it's still not good enough for a team, in my opinion, that's challenging for the second spot in the division. If you want to challenge for the second spot or the first shot in the division, if you want to go up, you have to be elite in all the major positions. And that's just not elite numbers to me. So
that's fair. And just to round off, yeah.
What are you laughing at?
What I will say,
just to round off
the ball ache thing. What? Let me just say to people, yeah, don't be coming and telling me to get a grip and getting personal on that just because I rate Meslier, right? We're all entitled to his opinion. That's it. You don't have to come and say, oh, you're a clown, you this, you that. There's no need for it. We're having a chat about a goalkeeper. Gabe rates him. I other way. Whoa. Gabe doesn't rate him. I do.
I don't rate him as elite. I think he's fine, but I don't think he's a good.
If we all agreed, it'd be a crap place, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
People are going to tweet that we hate each other now, Joe, because we've had a disagreement on the channel.
That's the thing. That's the thing, guys. We bring these comments up, these topics up because it's interesting. You've got three people with differing points of view. You're not just going to sit here and all agree. Like, it's boring. It's absolutely boring. And people do have different opinions. I disagree with Gabe pretty much 99% of the time. Like, and Joe's
calls
come on
me a
here,
numpty in the chat.
Yeah, but with it doesn't. It's like let's just chill out. Let's just chill out here. And Barry, chill.
Barry, shut up.
Anyway, let's just chill. Anyway, let's get on to the next player maybe in the list. So we've spoken about a goalkeeper rather extensively. So when we're talking about left back, are we thinking maybe Byram's one for me? Like Sam. Similar to a lot of our players, I think, in terms of like I do worry about Byram and his injury record massively. And like Joe's quite rightly said, Firpo as a sort of person who's going to be coming in like we've got at this moment in time isn't something that I want, to be honest. Are we looking at a left back potentially coming in this January, Joe? Is that something you'd go, or are you thinking Byram all the way?
No, listen, I love Byram, but we do need one. I believe that we need to get a loan in, I would say. I would look at a loan from a Premier League club. I think that seems to be the narrative from the club as well. I think a lot of what Angus said is we'll go after loans. Byram's been unreal. You go get, for me, a young understudy that's, I mean, I know it's not going to happen, but Matsson's not getting game time at Chelsea as much as he would like. They played Levi Colwill there, and
it's a good shout. It's a good shout. That's a good shout.
Yes. I think maybe a lower end Premier League club might take him. But what I'm saying is, there's left backs out there that we can go get, that we can share the minutes with Sam. Yeah. Because I know Leeds United's look. We would say, let's not get one. We're happy with Firpo. Firpo would break down. Byram would break down. And then we'd be stuck with Cooper at left back or Strauch out there. So let's just go out and get a left back on loan. Do you know what I mean? For me.
I totally agree. The thing about Byram is I'm like 50-50. Because on one hand, I mean, he's been involved in a lot of goal creation. He's hooked in some excellent crosses. He's gotten on the end. I mean, one of the goals we scored a couple of weeks ago was because he put his head on the ball and forced a save, and then Rutter tapped it in. So
that's not the problem, though, is it?
No, but I gotta say, I mean, not every left back in the division is creating chaos in the box like he is.
Yeah.
When he pinches in, I think a lot of what he's doing on the ball is really good. That being said, Connor, you brought this up a lot. When we're being pressed on the back line, not being able to take it onto that left foot, and being a right foot dominant player playing on the left side is tough. But the biggest thing is, and I'd still go with Byram. But the biggest thing is that injury record, like you mentioned. So
we're lucky. I think we're lucky. Like Byram's a decent player. But I think we're lucky we don't get teams week in, week out pressing, because I think he's nowhere near Premier League. Nowhere near. Go on, Joe.
Someone, big up to my man. Big up to my man. I think it was Vic. He said, "Gabe, what is Byram's poor shot?"
I saw that.
Yeah. No, don't. He'll have it.
I love that. Just
tweet
like
me ahead of time the stats
Barry.
you want. Now I'll come out.
Barry. I thought I hadn't seen Barry on my channel for a bit. I must have upset him. Big up Barry, man. It's all love.
Who's Barry? Oh, Barry. Yeah, Barry. Chill, man. It's all good, mate.
Man.
Just a football opinion. Let's chill.
Yeah. Man.
So anyway, let's get back onto it. So that's it. So we're looking at a left back. I think we all agree on that. And then
center half too, I think we all agreed on as well.
Yeah. So I think that's what we're looking
Do you know what I feel sorry for Creswell? The reason I feel sorry for him, we signed him on a new deal and he's clearly not being used. We're even putting Strauch at right centre back and then moving Cooper to left centre back, which, I think he deserves more for me, Connor. And if I'm him, I'm knocking on the door saying, I want a loan. Because he could have got a move, bro. He could have got a move. And,
what kills me, Joe? It kills me that Huggins is doing well at Sunderland and Leif Davis is doing well at Ipswich. Those two left backs.
Connor, keep this coming up. Look at his photo of the Bamford redemption.
What is it?
That Red Dead Redemption changed. Oh, that's great. That's
another Ash account, isn't it? Right. I tell you what, guys, let's leave it there. It's been a fruitful chat. Really enjoyed it. Absolutely loved it. Been a lot of debate. It's been interesting. And I'd
really
love to
enjoyed it.
We'll get Joe back on. We're going to see him more on the channel, definitely. Which is going to be really good stuff. But yeah, make sure you check out Joe's channel. I'm sure you're all subscribed anyway. Head on over to Gabe's channel as well.
The minnow channel of the group.
Doesn't matter, mate.
A little pilot frisk trying to survive.
Means absolute sweet FA if you're a minnow channel. Who cares? As long as you're creating Leeds content, that's all we're interested in. But yeah, what I'll do is, I've not done this in a while, actually. I'll leave the links in the description below. Look at that. There you go. Proper YouTuber. Nice. As I say, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we will catch you on the other side. You what, Gabe, before we go?
He said Gabe channel's called the X-Gabe.
Should
be called that, to be fair. Oh, that'd be class.